Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Shardemarie. Welcome, and as you can see by the stuff that's on my beauty desk, we are doing a eyeshadow eye liquid, I don't even know, declutter, because every day it seems like a new eyeshadow palette is coming out, so I wanted to make some room for some new things. So some of these things I'm passing along, some of these I'm discarding because they're like super old, some that I'm keeping just because of nostalgia, okay, and that's just the fact. So if you want to see what I'm keeping, what I'm giving away, then continue to keep on watching. But before we hop into this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as thumbs up if you want like declutters. Now let's get into it. Okay guys, so let's hop right into it. I have all of my eyeshadow palettes out, as well as like liquid eyeshadows and single eyeshadows. I don't have my eyeshadow sticks out because I don't use it as a standalone product. I normally put something over top of it. God girl, over top of it. But yeah, so this is where we're at with the eyeshadows. I counted it. I believe I have like around maybe 42 eyeshadow palettes. Now I can't say I'm gonna give away half, but I do feel like I'm going to give away a good amount. Maybe, possibly. We shall see. I love makeup. I might not be a makeup guru or a makeup artist, but I do like playing in makeup. It gives me a reason to get cute. Makeup gives me a reason to get cute. So I have it sectioned out in a way where I have right here is drugstore. Here are like unknown, I guess, indie brands in a way. I have all of my BoxyCharm palettes here. I have my Morphe palettes here, high-end, nostalgic, and ColourPop. So let's start off over here with these three eyeshadow palettes here. These are, and hopefully you guys, my camera want to focus throughout this video. I'm hoping and praying, okay y'all? But hopefully you guys can see this. These are the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palettes when they did that whole combo, and I just picked up these three. I have Dark Magic, I have Armed and Gorgeous, and Ring the Alarm. I don't have the purple one, which I think was called Bling Boss, just because personally I'm not a huge fan of like purples like that unless they're in the lavender and lilac color scheme. But if they're like a normal purple or deeper, it's not really my thing. But however, I am going to keep these three because I do use these. I haven't used Dark Magic yet, but I feel it's more of a fall winter palette than anything, but I do plan on using it when that time comes around. So those are my Morphe. Let's move on to the drugstore. So these are my drugstore palettes here. So the first one I have is this e.l.f. Bite Size Shadow in ICU. And I picked this up because I was doing I think I needed a blue eyeshadow for something, but I can't remember what it was. So I picked this up because it was the cheapest thing I could find, but I've only used it that one time. I haven't used it since then, and truth be told, I really don't reach for it. It's not really my type of color story, so I'm gonna pass this along to my sis. This, however, I am keeping. This is from NYX. This is their Ultimate Queen eyeshadow palette, and I picked this up because one is very melon girl friendly. Also, the artwork is from a black sister. Okay, so I'm going to support the black artist. I can't think of her name. If I can find it, I'll have it on the screen. But I wanted to support, so I picked this up. And this is a very good travel-friendly palette as well. If you're one of those who don't do all the extra stuff when it comes to makeup, you just want a one color look, or you just need something that's going to go all over the lids and something to deepen up the outer corners or rub underneath of your eyes. This is a good palette for that. So this is a keep. I had this CoverGirl Peach Punch palette. I got this from TJ Maxx. This is only $4. And I think I'm going to keep it just because I love anything dealing with peaches, oranges, yellows. Those are my like my top tier colors for the spring and summertime, and the payoff is okay. It's not the best in my opinion, but it does what it needs to do. So I am going to keep it, and if I don't reach for it anytime soon at the end of this month, then I'm going to pass it along, but for right now I am going to keep it. These two are a keep, and they are a staple in my collection. These are the Milani palettes. This is in bold. This is Most Love Mattes, and this is in Bold Obsessions. And what I like about these palettes are they are travel friendly. They're all skin tone friendly, as well as they also help you, give you guides on how to use their palettes. Like if you need a guide on how to work this row, they have it for you on the back of their palettes, which is very helpful for those who are like new to makeup and don't know how to put a color story together on the eyes. Here you go, they got it for you. So this is what Bold Obsessions look like, and this is what Most Loved Mattes look like. The same thing, they have guides on the back, but this is just an all matte palette. There are no shimmers in here. The payoff is gorgeous. Again, this is good for all skin tones. So you can do a soft look, a sultry look, a daytime look, a nighttime look. This is just a perfect palette for you. So yeah, this is a keep. However, I don't think they make these anymore, so I won't be using these in videos. Maybe if I did like a shop my stash or using nothing new type of video, but unfortunately I don't think they make these anymore. But however, Milani products I think are very good. They're very top tier, so you know, check them out. So now I have 3 palettes from BH Cosmetics. I have the Mimosa palette, Avocado Toast palette, and the Lost in Los Angeles palette. So let's talk about these two. These are from the Weekend Vibes collection. I did a whole video on this as well. I love their brushes. I love the lip glosses, and I love these palettes, even though I didn't even use the Avocado Toast palette, because at the time when they brought this out, it was drawn like the warm season, and I personally didn't think Avocado Toast is a warm season palette, but it's very good to transition into the fall and winter time. However, you wanted to use this during the spring and summertime. I think Pink Salt, Avo Toast, and Over Easy will be your like top 3 shades you can use in this palette, as well as maybe Avocado as a in the corners or over the lids. But all the rest of the colors I feel like are a little bit too deep for the spring and summertime, so I will wait to use this during the fall. But I do plan on using this in a video one of these days, just because I didn't get to use it in a video yet. However, I've used this palette down. The Mimosa palette. Now this is a spring summer palette, especially if you are the girls who love pink. This is the palette for you. You have nothing but pink here, except for this color here. Sunny and Chill and OJ are probably like your only 3 colors in here. There's, oh well, We Love Brunch are your only 3 colors in here that's not really in the pink family. Oh, and also Happy Hour. But the rest of the colors, y'all, are in the pink family. And if you love the color pink, this is a palette for you. The pigmentation is bomb. And I will say though, you will need, I mean, even though pigmentation is there, you still might need to put a little bit elbow grease in using it, especially some of these like more intricate colors. But other than that, it's a beautiful palette, and I think this is definitely good for brunch. It's definitely a brunch palette. Woo. Things are falling. Things are falling. So now for the next one, we have this palette here. This is the Lost in Los Angeles palette. I did a video on this as well. This is a pastel palette, so this is definitely good for the spring and summertime. However, I have another pastel palette that I'm going to keep, so I'm going to pass this along to my sister, because to me personally, the colors that are in here, there's somewhat similar colors in that palette as well. So we're just going to pass this along to my sis. and hopefully she can use it. It was good to me when I had it. I've used it from time to time, but the only color I really was using like that was Runyon Cannon, and even that brown is still not deep enough for me to use as a transition or as a crease color. My little sister's on the lighter side, so this will probably work better for her than it will for me. So she's going to get that. And last but not least, in the drugstore section is the Nomads by Juvia's Place palette. This is definitely a beautiful Melon Girl friendly palette. Definitely meant for the fall time though. As you can see, it has very warm colors in here. You have very rich, deep colors. So this is definitely meant for the fall and winter time. So that's when I'm going to use it again. So I'm just going to keep it and be prepared. So that was all of the palettes in the drugstore section. Alright, so now let's move on to this section here. So this is my high-end section, I guess you would call it. Anything that's over $25 that I guess I would consider high-end, okay? So I have this palette here. This was from Sephora, but it's from the ABH brand. You know, ABH has it where you can make your own little eyeshadow palette. So that's exactly what I did because I needed a terracotta or like a burgundy eyeshadow. And when I made it, I just thought of like my crease color, my all over the lid color, inner corner color. So this is what I had came up with. And the colors are beautiful. It fits my skin tone perfectly. However, I do not touch it. I don't touch it. I haven't touched it in years, okay? In years, maybe 3 years max. I have not touched this palette. So we are passing this along to my sister. She can get some use for it. Maybe she can take it with her on our trip, so that way she won't be long-winded and be the last one to leave out of the hotel. So this isn't technically an eyeshadow. This is actually a bronzer. This is from Mented in the color Yacht Life. But you guys know I use this as my eyeshadow color, like all over the lid or as a crease, because the undertone is too red for me to use as a bronzer. So I use it as a eyeshadow and I love it and I'm keeping it. End of story. No backstory to this. I love it and I'm keeping it. And I'm also going to keep this palette here. This is also from Mented. This is their everyday eyeshadow palette. They have an every night one, but right now it's out of stock. But I love this one. Again, very melon friendly. Mented Cosmetics is a black owned company, so of course all their stuff is geared towards women of color. But I love this. It's good again for every day. You can use it even for nighttime if you want to do something soft, if you want to do something sultry. I want to say nothing smoky because it's not a color in here that's deep enough for a smoky look really, but sultry or soft, I think this is definitely perfect for that. Or you can do a one eyeshadow look again. Just take maybe this color here, the one in the middle, and just put it over the lid. Or if you're a little bit my skin tone or deeper, you can put this all over the lid. Eyeliner, lashes, lip gloss, and go. Okay, so this is perfect. It's not really any shimmers in here besides this one here. So you really have an all matte palette right here. So yeah, if you can't find the Milani Most Loved Mattes, I say go for Mented because I think the colors are basically cohesive and still the same. This is a keep. This is a keep, this is a keep, this is a keep, and this is also a get. If you are my skin tone or deeper, get. I mean, granted, if you're on the lighter spectrum, you can definitely still get it. But I really think this is perfect for us women of color. I love this palette. Natasha did that. Natasha did that with this palette. Even though I still want to pick up the light one, but she did that. I use this palette, I want to say every single day, but anytime I want to do a very quick one palette type of look, this is where I go. This is where I go. And I definitely use the crap out of these three colors, the transition, smoke, and crease, and I use it for what supposedly you're supposed to use it for. You also get a cream blush and a Star Glow highlighter. You see I use the blush a lot too, and it's just a beautiful color. Even though this cream blush is kind of deep and kind of warm for the spring and summertime, so I normally go for something a little bit lighter, but even then I think it's still a gorgeous color. You can even use it on your eyes as well. I love it. Love it. Keeping it. It's a keep. So this is the pastel palette I was talking about from Natasha Denona. And I did a whole dedicated video, if I can get it open. I did a whole dedicated video on this palette. I talked about, was it worth it, how the colors were, how the pigmentation went. I talked about how my pans are kind of loose in my palette, and I don't know why, but I mean, none of them have fallen out. So I mean, as long as they stick to where they need to go, then I guess that's fine for me. I will say though, I did have a hard time blending some of the colors over top of each other. If you saw in that video, I was trying to use Brisk was the main color, and I tried to use this word right here that I cannot pronounce, but this color here, I tried to use it over top of it because I felt like those two colors would like complement each other, and that color wasn't trying to go over top. So I'm like, okay, well, let me use the Mint Frost color. That wasn't trying to go over top. The Brisk color was coming off my eyelids. It was just not working. So I don't know if it's just this color by itself that was an issue, because when I use this color down here, which is called Feather, I used Dainty over top of it, and it looked gorgeous. It worked just fine. I had no issues. I didn't have issues with the lime green down here called Zest. So all in all, in that video, I said it wasn't worth the $65 or $68 that it is, because we all know Natasha Denona is very expensive. It's not worth the $45. I keep saying $45. The $65 that is worth. But I have it, so I'm going to keep it. But that's why I got rid of the Los Angeles one, because I don't need two pastel palettes, even though I do plan on picking up the Profusion one and see how that one works. If it works better, because you do need a white eyeshadow base for the Los Angeles palette from BH Cosmetics, because it's just not very pigmented for their pastel colors. So then we have the ABH Primrose one. Love the color story of this one, even though I never touched this deep berry color, because again, it's a dark purple, but it's still a beautiful palette. I love using this color. I don't use it as a bronzer because it's just not my color, but I use it as a blush sometimes. This is beautiful as a blush or as an eyeshadow color as well. This palette is just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's an all year round palette, so it doesn't matter if it's spring, summer, winter, fall, hot, cold, rainy. It doesn't matter. This is a beautiful palette to use all year round, and I highly suggest picking it up. So next two palettes are from Kylie Jenner. Alright, now I haven't picked up anything new from Kylie since her 21st birthday. And she's now what? 22 now, I think. I don't even know. I don't know. She's my birthday twin, but I can't remember how old this woman is. But this is my very first ever eyeshadow palette I picked up from her, and I'm tempted to keep it for nostalgic reasons, just because it was my first palette from Kylie Jenner. And even though I don't know how old the woman is, and even though I don't really bang with any of her sisters besides her and maybe Chloe, I don't need to keep it. I don't. I haven't used it since I brought it, and I don't even know what her first palette, when her holiday collection came out, her very first one. It was about 2018, maybe 2017. I don't even know. It was so long ago. I don't use it. Beautiful colors, beautiful color story. I just don't need it. I just don't need it. So I'm going to pass it along to my sister. However, I am going to keep these. I'm going to keep this one. The Sipping Pretty. This was from her 21st birthday, and it's giving me it's another palette that has some colors similar to this, but I like this color story a little bit better than the other color story from the Nice palette. from her, so I'm going to keep it. I've used this in a video before, and I tried to use it again in another video, but I never posted it, and I just scrapped that video out. But I'm going to try this video, this palette out again in a video very soon and see what my thoughts are. But I think most likely I'm going to keep it anyway. I gotta keep one Kylie thing, right? So that is the keep. So now here are the indie brands. So when I mean indie brands, meaning like you can't find them in stores, you can only pick them up from online only. So these two palettes are from this company called Bad Habit. They are no longer around. They were a company that was basically duping everybody's eyeshadow palettes, basically. So this is the Athena palette, and this was supposed to be a dupe for one of Huda Beauty's palettes, and I've used this palette down. I did plenty of makeup tutorials using this palette. It does have the purples in here. It has like the deep burnt oranges. It has like that creamy, well, I don't want to say creamy, but it has like that textured gritty glitter in here like it does in the Huda Beauty one. But I haven't used this since then, so I'm gonna pass this along to my sister, as well as I'm gonna pass along this one too. This is the Aphrodite palette. This was also a dupe for one of the Huda Beauty palettes, and again, it's a beautiful color story. The pigmentation was cool for me. I didn't have any issues, but again, I don't reach for it, so it's a no-go for me. Now I'm going to keep this one. This is from Alter Ego. This brand is still around. I actually have some of their brushes and their lip glosses, which I really, not lip glosses, matte liquid lipsticks, which I really like. But I'm going to keep this one. This is a dupe for Huda Beauty's Rose Gold palette. Not Rose Gold, or is it Rose Nude or Nude palette? Something like that. Rose Nude, Nude, something. Okay, it's a dupe for that. But this is much, much cheaper. Okay? Oh, excuse me. And I don't have a problem with it. I don't have not one lick of a Huda Beauty product in here, so I can't say the pigmentation is the same as hers, but all in all, I love this palette. It gives me very romantic vibes, so this is what I definitely use this during like date night, or when I want to do a very romantic look. I go for this palette here, and I love it. I love this palette, so I'm keeping this palette again. So now I'm keeping all of these, but I just want to run through them. This is what I call my nostalgic palette, or palettes that really have no use for me to use, but I'm keeping it for a reason. Like this one is the Aaliyah and Mac palette. Obviously I'm keeping it because it's Aaliyah. Come on now, baby girl, I'm keeping her. Okay, in point blank motherfucking period, I'm keeping her. Never touched it, never used it. I used her bronzer though. I use her bronzer, but I haven't touched this eyeshadow palette. But I'm keeping it just because of her name, because it's Aaliyah. Oh, also use her lipsticks as well. I just haven't used the eyeshadow palette, but again, it has the purples in it, and again, not a fan of purple, but I mean, it just had that one purple. But the color story doesn't really make sense to me personally, but I brought it again just because it's Aaliyah. And then I have this from NYX. This was from one of my free birthday gifts from Ulta. I don't know how many moons ago, but it's super old, and I don't really need it, but I'm keeping it just because it says happy birthday on it. Who else needs something like this that says happy birthday? But the birthday girl, me. The very first Naked palette. Don't use it, but I'm keeping it because it was my very first, I think, high-end ever eyeshadow palette. So I have to keep it. Don't need to use it, but I have to keep it. Modern Renaissance from ABH. We all know what that looks like. I use this still from time to time, but I've used this in so many tutorials on here, so it's no need for me to keep using it on camera, but I'm keeping it because it is a classic, and it forever will be capsule in my collection, as well as the Subculture palette. I know everybody had their issues with it. They were saying how chalky it was and everything. I personally didn't have an issue with it. I got mine from TJ Maxx, so maybe by the time I got to TJ Maxx, the formula had changed or something. But I definitely use this during the fall and winter time, or I'll use it during when I'm doing like my St. Patrick looks or something like that. But other than that, I never had an issue with the Subculture palette, so I'm keeping it. So yes. Oh, I need a drink of water, y'all, so let me be right back. Okay, now we are back. You hear a difference in my voice? Ooh, y'all. I needed some water. My throat was getting kind of rough. But we're almost done. So right now, this side has all of my keeps or giveaways, and now we have this little bit of section here. So now this, let me go with this section here. So this section here are any palette that I got during my, like any of my boxy charms. So I have this 5-pan palette here from Natasha Denona. This is in the, it's called Ayana. This was a boxy charm exclusive. And truthfully, I did not like this palette at all. Like, I don't know, the color story, I really didn't understand. This is a cool tone brown. It's not even a warm tone brown, but you have like this super deep brown. So like, where is the warm tone brown in here? Because this isn't warm tone really like that either. It has a cool undertone. Then you have this beautiful color here, which is cool. But then you have like this random green. So what are you supposed to do with this? And I just didn't understand it. And I just was not a fan of it. So I kept it because I was like, I don't have no Natasha Denona on the palette, so let me just keep it. But then I went ahead and got 2 other Natasha Denona palettes, and I didn't want to base it off of just this one because I heard how good her stuff was. But this had deterred me away from her at first. But I don't know. I just felt like they could have done something better for the Boxy Charm exclusive, and this just wasn't it. So this is a pass along. This is from Ciate London. This is the Velvet palette, and I kept it because I thought I was going to use it because it has a lot of like shimmers in it. But one thing for sure, first of all, it's hard as hell to get in this palette. There we go. It's hard as crap to get in this palette. But this is what the color story looks like. So it has like these beautiful, I don't know, colors in it. You have like some pinks, some corals, a yellow, some browns, but the color stories is a tad bit confusing as well. Like, I like this color, this peach color here. This is a beautiful color here. I like this color here. I thought this was a transition color, but it's not a brown. Actually, y'all, it's like a very deep berry purple color, so don't be fooled by that. This is a beautiful bronze color, but I don't reach for this. I haven't reached for it since I got it in my Boxy Charm, so it's just like, it's no point in me keeping it. So I'm gonna pass this along to my sis. I am going to keep this palette here. This is from Ace Beauty. This is Falling For You. This is in a fall Boxy Charm, and I love the color story of this palette. Is very obviously very fall driven, even though I think you can wear like this bright orange color. Oops, I just nicked it. Lord, I just nicked it. But you could use this this bright orange color during the spring and summertime. You can probably even use this color called Candy Corn or Squash right now, but I would still stick to using this during the fall time, just because it has all of those fall tones, and the names of it is very fallish. So keeping it so I can keep it for the fall. So this is my one and only Ofra palette. This is the Good To Go Mini Mix palette. And it has all of the lights highlighter, which is like a very popular highlighter combo from Ofra. But then you have a bronzer, a blush, and then you have your eyeshadows here. So this is a good face palette. Not really a bronzer meant for like maybe super deep. Maybe if you're my skin tone and maybe a little bit lighter. The blush is good for, again, my skin tone and down, but not my skin tone and up. Just FYI. But do I want to keep it? I don't reach for this palette at all. And it's one of those out of sight, out of mind palettes. It's not like I remember, oh, I had this ofra palette, let me pick it up, you know? So I might pass this along to my sis, because again, I don't reach for it. Sometimes I even forget about it. And the only color in here that's like really appeases me is this blue greenish color here. It is called, I think it's called Fresh, maybe. I think this is called Fresh, I'm assuming. So that's the only color that's really giving it to me, because other than that, it's not really giving it to me. Or maybe it's called Reset. Yeah, I don't know. The colors is on the back of this, but I wish it was on the front so it'd be more helpful. Okay. But that's the only color that's giving it to me. Y'all will never see me wearing like a red on my eyes. Never. Never ever. Never ever ever ever. You will never ever ever see me wearing red on my eyes. So it's like, y'all really need that? No. Love the color store. I love the highlighter, but I only would wear these two. I would never wear pink. Maybe on the eyes, but I would never wear it on my face. And this is too light. So yeah. I'm gonna pass this along to my sis. Originally I was gonna keep it, pass it along to my sis. We have Cosmetics. Color story's okay, it's decent. The payoff of the colors are good. This is their day and night palette. So again, you can try to do daytime looks. Not really sure what you can use for the daytime really, but it's definitely good for the nighttime. It's giving me more fall vibes than anything. So yeah, and I feel like I already have kept a palette that has similar color story to this, so this is going to be a pass along. OPV Beauty London and Spotlight. This is a black owned company. They are based in the islands, and I think I'm gonna keep this palette because I have more colors in here that's calling my name compared to the previous palettes. And I really love this light blue, so love that color, love the dream color, and I love this black. The black is super black. So yeah, again though, it's still giving me more fall time, but you can still dip into this palette right now for this season, but it's still a fall palette, but I'm gonna keep it anyway. And last but not least, in my Boxy Charm section, we have another Ace Beauty palette. This is called Nostalgia. And this is definitely a spring and summer palette. There's so many bright colors in here. I know it looks kind of more fallish on the outside, but the inside says otherwise. They're not a pastel colors though. They are a more deep, rich, bright color, which is again perfect for the spring and summertime. Especially this color called Vacation or Picnic, I think is perfect. And the names are more summery than anything. You have like beach, popsicle, theme park, water slide, heat. Like I said, picnic, vacation, flip-flops, carnivals. You do that during the springtime. You do that during the summertime. You know, you don't really try to eat popsicles or go to the beach and stuff during the fall and winter time. So yeah, this is definitely a keep for me. Alright, last but not least, as far as eyeshadow palettes go, we have my little small ColourPop section here. So the first one is, this color is Barky. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a cool tone palette from ColourPop, and I've used it one time and haven't touched it since then. And truth be told, I highly doubt my sister will touch it as well. You know, because I'm just a warm tone type of girl. I try to get into cool tones and, you know, try to step outside of my box, but maybe the color story is just not what I need as far as like cool tones go. Maybe I need to go more on a different route of cool tones, but yeah, but I love the packaging. The packaging is freaking gorgeous, but it's just not for me. So I'm gonna pass it on to my sister and she can do what she will with it, but for me it's a no-go. This is a keep. This is the Wild Child palette, which is a very woman of color friendly palette. I did a whole video on this whole collection and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. This is definitely a daytime, nighttime, sultry, sexy, smoky palette. This is a very good travel friendly palette if you just want to stick to all of those warm tones only. If you really don't want to do color on your lids or anything like that, you can definitely use this. Keeping it, love it, it's amazing. No need to go no further. So this is my Kathleen Lights Dream Street palette from her collab with ColourPop, and I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. No, you can no longer find it unless you're going maybe on eBay, but the color story is beautiful, the payoff is beautiful, and I love Kathleen Lights, so I'm keeping it. End of story. Same with this one. This is from the Shayla and ColourPop collab in the color Perception. Love this palette as well. These two colors here were my rundown everyday colors. This is in Culture and this is in Revenge. Then you have like this beautiful burnt orange and called Thick. However, I never dipped into these three colors here. I never dipped into Stallion, 14, or September. But again, a very good woman of color friendly palette. No, again, I'm sorry, unfortunately you can't pick it up anymore or find it, but I love this and I'm keeping it and I use it sometimes off camera. Then we have this palette here called Truly Madly Deeply. Again, a beautiful palette, especially for Valentine's Day or date night. However, I've only reached for this during Valentine's Day. I don't reach for this palette on any other day, and we all know people, these brands love to do themes for special holidays. So I really don't need to keep this palette because again, I only use it for Valentine's Day and no any other day. So I'm gonna pass this along to my sister. Now last in the ColourPop section is It's a Mood big eyeshadow palette. God damn it. And this is a keep because it has every color for the most part that you can think of. No, it don't have like super bright colors like pastels, anything like that, but you do have your warm tone row. You have a green row, you want to do a green look. You have your blues, you want to do a blue look. Purple, you have your peaches and dark purples, and then you have like a semi-cool tone color here, like color scheme right here. So then of course you can mix and match and do whatever you need to do. So this is a keep for me. I love this palette. I especially stayed to like this little row here and into this color and this color. But all in all, this is a beautiful palette. I did I think I did a 2 looks 1 palette with this ColourPop eyeshadow palette. I believe I did the green and I believe I did the blue, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, keeping it. So this is the keep. So those are all my eyeshadow palettes. So I'm getting rid of 10 eyeshadow palettes and I'm keeping 29. So there we go. Getting rid of 10, keeping 29. So there we go. I had close to, yeah, like I said, I had close to around 40 eyeshadow palettes. And I probably got rid of like 30%. So now let's move on to the single eyeshadows and liquid eyeshadows here. And then we'll be done with this video, you guys. So let's start with the liquid eyeshadows. So these two, I'm not even going to give to my sister. I'm actually going to just discard these because these are super old. They're dried out. These are the Stila Shimmer and Glow or Glitter and Glow sticks. These were revolutionary. Okay, they started the whole liquid eyeshadow game. Okay, if it wasn't for Stila's contribution to the game, we want to be where we are now. But these are super old. I got these from TJ Maxx or maybe Ross or Marshalls. 9 times out of 10 I got these from TJ Maxx many moons ago, and I didn't let it go. This is in Tulip and this is in Kitten, and we're just going to disregard those. I'm not even going to put it over here. They're going in the trash. They're trash. Point blank period. But I am keeping this. This is from this company called Lucky Chick. I got this in a boxy charm, and this is in the color Rose Quartz. Beautiful. If you watch that video, beautiful, 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 beautiful. This is, I believe, though, like $20 or probably more than that. I'm not really sure. It is kind of expensive for a liquid eyeshadow, but the payoff is gorgeous. It stays in your eyes all day, and it's just a beautiful liquid eyeshadow. So because of that, it made me get these three. And these are brand new. Okay, these are fresh out of the moon, brand new to me. Okay, these are from REM Beauty, which is Ariana Grande's line. And I got her matte liquid eyeshadow. She does have a glitter liquid eyeshadows, but I just went with the matte ones because I wanted matte eyeshadows, liquid eyeshadows. So I got Text Me Later and the heart symbol, and they're basically like every color type of nude that you can think of. I have the very, very bright nude, I have a neutral nude, and then I have the dark nude, and they just perfect. These are beautiful eyeshadows. They are $16 a piece, so they are more on the higher end of liquid eyeshadows, but I think you should get them. They are wonderful. They are super matte. They are very long lasting, and they are just perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alright, so next I have this e.l.f. Jelly Pop Face and Eye Gloss. I'm keeping this because I love the eye gloss look. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. This does have like a pink iridescent underneath of it, so at first I thought it was like clear until I started wearing it and realized it has more of a pink undertone, but I think it's gorgeous, especially during the daytime. You put this over top with just some lashes and a lip gloss or whatever, perfect. I love it, keeping it. I'm also going to keep this. This is the Rose Gold Eye Pigment from Kylie Cosmetics. Again, I don't have anything in my collection, all that you guys can see, in this rose gold color, so this would be perfect for as a base or as a standalone product. You can also use it as in the corner highlight, so that is a keep. I have 3 shadows that look exactly the same, y'all. Tell me these don't look the same. And you would think you probably thinking like, girl, unless you didn't like purple. These are the type of purples that I like. You see how they're not like on the pinky undertone lilac lavender color. These are the type of purples that I like. But in my eyes, they all look the same, especially these two. So this is from AOA Studio. This is in the color Poetic. This is a big eyeshadow. And then I have this Ulta Beauty Bouncy Cream eyeshadow. I'm not keeping neither one of these. I'm going to pass these along to my sis, because again, they're both the same, and I haven't touched these in Lord knows how long, so just pass it along. But I am going to keep this one from AOA Studio. This is the Velour eyeshadow in Macaroon or Macaron, and this is more of a pink purple than a lilac lavender purple as the other two. But so I am going to keep this one. I love it. I have these 2 ColourPop Super Shock shadows. I have one in Kathleen Lights and one in Lala. So Kathleen Lights is more on the bronzy gold side, and then Lala is more on the champagne side. I'm going to get rid of Lala. I'm going to keep Kathleen Lights. I have the ColourPop Ultra Glitter and Super Shock Shadow and Birthday Wish. This is from their 4 years old collection, and I'm going to keep it only because it has like this purpley pink undertone to it. So I think that would be beautiful for all over the lids. So I'm going to keep that. I'm also going to keep these 3 here. These are from the Wild Child collection. 2 of these are Ultra Metallics, and then 1 is a Ultra Glitter, right? No, this one is Ultra Metallic and these 2 are Ultra Glitters, but they come in like different tones of browns. So keeping all 3. And last but not least, I have these 2. This is from Jecca Black. This was in a boxy charm. This is in the color called Gold Touch. Yep, Gold Touch, which is like this gold shimmery color. I only used it one time. I said I was going to use it in that video, and I said, oh, I like this. I like the way that it, you know, it does what it needs to do, and I think it's very unique, but I lied. I haven't touched it since I did that video, so that's a leave. But I'm keeping this because I love having like a pop of color just around. I have something else that was a pop. I knew it. Even though I'm keeping this too. This is a Prismetal eyeshadow from JCat. This is an Orangey Happy. So I'm keeping these 2 because I love having just a standalone colorful color. Like, I don't think I have any like bright yellows like I have with this. Even though this is a pigment, I don't need to set it. It doesn't crease or anything like that. So I love this. This is from Flower Beauty. They have it in other colors. I don't know if they still sell it. If so you guys will just have to check and see. I got mine from Ulta. This is in Zing PF3. And like I said, this is a prismatic mousse, chrome eye mousse, and Orangey Happy. And I love this as well. So this is a keep. So I'm going to put away everything that I am keeping back in my drawer, and I'm going to show you guys the final results, and then we can end this video. Okay guys, so this is what my eyeshadow eyelash drawer is looking like. So in the back I have all of my lashes, so that's where all my lashes are. And then this big old pile here, it has mascara, eyeliners, and eyeshadow bases. We still need to go through this, but this is where they're at right now. But this is what I did with the eyeshadows. So the only eyeshadow palette that you guys cannot see is it's a Mood palette. It's all the way down at the bottom, laid down, because the palette is too big for it to stand up, so it won't let me close the drawer, so I had no choice but to lay it down. But yeah, I somewhat have it where all the little small palettes are in the front. I try to do them by height. And then these are my nostalgic palettes, which I will never get rid of, and they just need to be in the back. And then this is where the rest of the palettes are. And yeah, so that is what this drawer is looking like. Again, I still need to go through all of these here, but that will be for another video. So again, I just want to give you one last look at everything that I'm getting rid of. I know it's not that much, but it is enough for me, because again, some of these eyeshadow palettes that I am keeping are for nostalgic reasons, and other ones you guys know I use a lot in makeup tutorials. Again, it's still not enough space for me to add any new eyeshadow palettes, but I'm hoping and praying that I can upgrade my storage system soon before I purchase any more eyeshadow palettes, okay? Or any more eye products in general. That's what I'm hoping and praying. Fingers crossed. But yes, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this declutter. And if you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as well as subscribe and turn on your bell notification. Get notified when I upload my next video. Thank you guys so much for the support. I love you, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. That look dumb. Bye.